they've had lots of names. Echo boomers, because they are the children by and large of baby boomers, Generation Y, Generation Next, whatever you call them. Millennials are not just an American phenomenon. They're much more similar around the world than you could possibly imagine. What they really are is young, and they are young of mind, young of heart, and young of experience. They're optimistic, they're global thinkers, they are group-oriented, they are all about collaboration. They are friends with their parents. The real gap in the workplace is between millennials and Generation X, not between millennials and boomers, because as boomers, you live with them in your house, you've indulged the hell out of them, you've made them who they are. So even if they annoy you in the workplace, part of you is giggling along with them because you've created this monster. They couldn't actually sit in this meeting without a phone in their hand right on their thigh. Their left thigh serves a purpose. It's not just a leg. It's a shelf for their communications tool. They use it to be able to lean in and communicate at all times because they're not really alive unless they're in communication with many people. Really what drives millennials, you only live once. If somebody invites them to an all-night party and they still need to be back at work tomorrow morning, they're going to go to that all-night party because how do they know there's not going to be an earthquake tomorrow? They are really focused on innovation and on things that are going to make a big change. So you're starting to see that you want to be part of a message that says you are a company of innovation. If you're not a company of innovation, you are going to lose a millennial. They're going to hold you accountable for change. You're going to see millennials kind of take over, and they're going to redefine career, ambition, success, and reward. There's going to be new ways and new styles of working. I think one of the big things that's going to change, overnight work is going to become desirable. Because people are going to want their whole days back. They're going to want to be able to have the opportunity to get their whole work life out of the way over a couple of 18-hour shifts. So you're going to see people who are going to want to get the work week out of the way by working in spurts. So you're going to see people who are just going to say, hang on, Mr. Corporation, I'm selling you 45 hours a week. I'll tell you when you're buying it from me. You're going to see a lot more globalization and a lot more people selling things cross-border because they're going to be able to telecommute to anywhere and everywhere. So you're going to see a knowledge economy rise where people are not going to necessarily need to be in the place where they're working. They're going to work from wherever they are. But they need to be motivated to serve. Otherwise, they are just going to be there and expect to get paid. And by the way, you better pay them the same thing you're paying everybody else because they're going to disclose that on the internet and via social networks. And you're going to have a mutiny on your hands. Because they were all given trophies when they played sports. And they were all promoted each year just because they went to school. And they better all get the same thing because merit pay is not going to go down very well with this group. Because they think they all merit the same thing because they're all created equally. Only they're all a little bit better than the next guy because their parents told them they were. You just can't single them out that way. More millennials are delaying entering the workforce by staying in school, taking non-paying internships or seasonal work, or treading water in other vastly creative ways. I'm also going to say that more millennials are dropping in and dropping out in the first 10 years. So the first piece of advice I would give you in all seriousness is don't even count on them from 21 to 31 years old. Because if you realize that you are going to have 80 years in the workforce, 70 years in the workforce, would you really start working the first day you had to if you knew that your parents wouldn't keep paying the bills? Most of them are just not that interested in being there. So it's a little bit like an adventure. It's like a camping trip. By the fifth night, you're being bitten by the bugs. You're not going to stay in the sleeping bag. You're going to head back to your parents' house or to a youth hostel. Even when they take that first job, the first time the going gets rough, they're not going to hang out and stay. Their priorities are actually simple. They want to come first. So they want to join a company where they can come first, where they can win awards and build their network. They want recognition of the job they're doing. And they want to be paid for it. They're not so worried how much you pay them for it as long as they can live a good life. But they do not want to be criticized, even constructively along the way. And you need to be sure that they feel good about themselves at all times, because otherwise there will be a lot of psychobabble en route. They are looking for fun. They are looking for the workplace to engage them and give them meaningful things to do. But you are not going to define them. They will define you. And I think that if you don't give them the right forum, somebody else will. And it doesn't matter at what socioeconomic status you're talking about, they still believe that somebody else will give them a job.